Hello. Yeah.
Sir, give me a minute.
So,
It's online. Okay, you can start.
yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be discussing on human trafficking, which is very important topic. It's a global problem and also it's a global concern. Today human trafficking is a very important area of issue. Every country is concerned about it because of this, increasing issue of human trafficking. And we are going to discuss the various dimensions of it. I'm going to unpack the various aspects of human trafficking, why human trafficking, and what are the perspectives which are existing to understand human trafficking, and also who are the victims of human trafficking. And we are going to check, or we are going to discuss also some, we are going to discuss some case studies from different parts of the world. Okay, that is what I'm planning to discuss today. So I've divided my lecture into various sections. So what is human trafficking? Okay, I mean that we will discuss. Then we will discuss why human traffic happens and theoretical perspectives which try to explain the phenomenon of human trafficking and also the prevention of human trafficking and what are the forms of human trafficking. These are things we will discuss in this class today. See, if you look at the slide says human trafficking is a global phenomenon and is a global concern. Why we discuss it? Because it's very connected to economic implications, security implications. Okay, because human trafficking is challenges the national security as well as the territorial sovereignty. That's what, because it's a major issue. So the world countries have come together to stop or to contain the increasing issue, the human trafficking. We are going to see that also. See, human trafficking can be traced back. It's not a new phenomenon. It has been there, but it has increased today. That is the point you have to keep in mind. It's the ancient practice. Its origin can be traced back to slave trade. Okay, even during the slave trade, we can see the human trafficking. Okay, human trafficking has assumed different meanings today because of its increasing volume and diverse practices. Because the advent of globalization and advancement in transport and communication technologies, which have facilitated human trafficking very easier, and also it has increased many folds. That's a point you have to keep in mind. See, that's what you see the slide, the top. Technologies have made trafficking more widespread, accessible, smoother, assuming a global phenomenon and multi-billion dollar business today. You know, there's the economic aspect as well. It has become a business, okay? But basically, it's a transnational crime. Human trafficking can occur both within the country and also outside the country. It's like both. It happens in both ways, internal and external ways. It seems that internal human trafficking is more widespread than the external trafficking. Okay, so trafficking happens by land, by sea, by air, from poorly developed countries to developed countries. The victims of the human traffickers, the victims of the human trafficking can be found in restaurants, brothels, farmhouses, homes, shops, work sites, and many other sectors of society. Okay, even the human traffickers or the victims are used for organ trade, organ selling. Okay, we will discuss one by one, but just I'm trying to, give you this transnational crime. Okay, there are big, human trafficking groups like in China, in Japan, and also, in Russia. These are the mafias. For example, snakeheads of China, Yakuza of Japan, and Russian mafia are classic examples. Okay, these are the who are they? They are the human trafficking gangs.
Right.
Yeah,
Dr.
it's a
Mahasin.
hidden practice, and I think someone should
तो फिर
mute.
ज्यादा है मतलब फिर
I
मार
think
पीछे
no,
after a long time
Bromate.
to it.
So yeah, so it's a hidden practice, and it's challenging to access and analyze it thoroughly. Okay, human trafficking is a human trafficking. It's a very major global problem or global concern. So I think I've introduced the topic. I want to ask you now. I'll ask, for example, Dominicos, you tell me about, so far I've introduced the topic, what is human trafficking? So what is your understanding as of now? What is your, I just spoke for 5 minutes, so you must have got an idea what is human trafficking. Can you just discuss with us? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So, as I know now, human trafficking is this serious problem
Mhm.
because it's involving the recruitment, transportation, and the coercive purpose for exploitation.
Yeah.
Yes. And many of these people they are taking for the forced labor in many countries.
Mm.
Yes. Like in Africa, in South Africa also, we have many of the Bengalis people going there and
Okay.
working the mining companies.
Mhm.
Yes, this is the huge problem in Africa also, human trafficking. But
Okay.
it's both sides because many Africans also are going
Mhm.
to West Europe for
Yeah.
working, and many of
Yeah.
them are not having the documents, are going
Yes.
like,
Yes,
uh,
we will discuss all that, and thank you, Dominicos. And I want to, tell you, see, so far what I discussed is, I said human trafficking is a global phenomenon and also global concern. One. Second thing you have to keep in mind, see, human trafficking we talk about today because there's a rise of international migration. Because of that, human trafficking also has increased. You know, human trafficking is also kind of migration, international migration, but it's illegal migration, illegal migrants. Basically, they are okay. That's why So we are going to discuss about the various dimension of it. It's not a new practice; it's an old practice. Okay, we started with slave trade. Even during slave trade, many slaves were human trafficked, okay, by illegal agents. But now it has increased because of the globalization, accessible to technology and development of communication and technology. All these things have led to very smooth way of trafficking and also easy way of doing trafficking. Okay, that's why the human trafficking also has increased because of there is a demand and supply. There's an increase of demand and supply. That's why it has also increased. That's the point you have to keep in mind. It's a transnational crime. Okay. So now I'm switching over to the definition part, definitions and meanings of human trafficking. Human trafficking has been defined by United Nations Trafficking Protocol. It's a comprehensive definition. Every country is following this definition of human trafficking, okay, because it's very comprehensive and also very wide definition. See, human trafficking has been defined as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons using the threat or use of force or other forms of coercion or abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of power. Okay, and also vulnerability or the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of person having control over another person for exploitation. Okay, so basically, human trafficking is for exploitation. Human trafficking is defined, let me put it very simple way. That is, human trafficking is a trafficking of a person, okay, and also transportation of a person by force, by using force, by using, deceptive methods, by deceptive, by deceptive methods, and also for giving and receiving payments, of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person, and also having control over the person. That is also kind of, see, trafficking and smuggling both are not same. They look similar, okay, but trafficking is more harmful than smuggling of a person, because for smuggling the person is not a slave, okay. Once he's smuggled to some other country, or some other country, and he's free, whatever he wished to do, that is called smuggling. But human trafficking, a person is trafficked, he has been kept as a slave by the trafficker, okay. That is the difference in a destination country, okay. But smuggling happens across international borders, okay. But human trafficking happens internally as well as external migration. That is a major difference between human trafficking and smuggling. Both look similar in nature, but they are different. I told you how it is different. Smuggling, if a person is smuggled, after reaching the destination country, he or she can move out of the smuggler. They can go, they have freedom, they can just do whatever they want to do in the destination country. But a traffic person, they won't have any option. He is treated as a slave, and he'll be kept under the controlled influence of the trafficker. That is the main difference between smuggling and trafficking. Okay. There are various definitions of human trafficking, but most of the countries they follow and they look to, or they refer to the definition of UN. Okay, the United Nations Trafficking Protocol. Okay, that's a point you have to keep in mind. Okay. So coming to the next definition, so that is on the lot of definitions, but this is the only one definition I want to discuss, because this is the only one commonly referred by all the countries. Though trafficking and smuggling have many similarities, as both are forms of illegal irregular migration, but there are stark differences. I told you smuggling is related to crossing international borders, unlike human trafficking, which is internal as well as external migration. The difference is very clear when, after arriving at the destination country, the smuggled victims are free to leave and look for better options. Okay, after they arrive at the destination countries. In the case of traffic victims, they are at the mercy of traffickers because they need to repay the debt and seizure of documents by the traffickers. So this is a difference between human trafficking and smuggling. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Secondly, the legal status of the trafficked and smuggled person is very different in the destination country. Okay, that is the point also you have to keep in mind. Then the factors and the causes of human trafficking. Okay, that is, what are the causes? Why they are trafficked? There are push and pull factors. Push factor, you know very well, poverty, the vulnerable position of a particular person, and also, the corruption, you can say, instability of the government, for example, political unrest in a particular country, so these are the push factors, for the people to be trapped by the traffickers. See, political conflict, poverty, social unrest, and infant mortality, all these causes, apart from above factors, internet or digital connectivity has increased human trafficking. Okay. And also the ignorance, illiteracy, demand for labor, sexual trade. Okay. So, and also, weak laws between these countries, weak border control, armed conflict or civil war, okay, and also international organized crime groups, political instability. These are all push factors, but pull factor is, for money, for some of them for freedom. Okay, there is a pull factor. Stability of the, they want stable government. They want to live in a comfortable country, a place, whatever. So these are the pull and push factors. Both are playing out for human trafficking. Okay, both factors are equally playing out. Okay, for human trafficking to happens. Human trafficking happens in every country. Okay, developed country and also developing countries. Not that only from developing to developed. Okay, even across north, global north also there is a human trafficking. Example, Mexico border and US border, is very known for human trafficking. Same way, in Europe and Africa, okay, there's a human trafficking borders. In India, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, okay, human trafficking is very common feature. These are, for example, Vietnam, Cambodia, these Myanmar, this region also very vulnerable for human trafficking. Indonesia, then South Korea, North Korea, Japan, China. So every country you name it, there's a big, human trafficking corridor, across the globe. Then there are different theoretical perspectives to understand human trafficking. Okay, human trafficking can be examined and studied from various perspectives such as migration perspective, development perspective, market or business perspective, globalization perspective, uh, labor perspective, criminal justice perspective, and human rights perspective. These perspectives, these theories will help us to understand the phenomenon of human trafficking. For example, migration perspective. Migration and human trafficking are closely related to each other. Okay, human trafficking comprises both internal as well as external migration. Undocumented or irregular migrants are likely victims of trafficking, subjected to forced labor and sexual exploitation. Okay, see, the migration perspective will help us to understand the human trafficking. Okay, how the illegal migrants are, more prone for human trafficking. So they'll be easily, they are prey to the human trafficking, the illegal migrants, those who want to enter the other country through illegal means. So they are the prey, they are the victims of human trafficking. See, for example, immigration control, strict immigration control, limited country quotas, ineligibility for legal entry, and labor demand are critical for migrants from less developed countries to developed countries to adopt illegal migration, human trafficking route. These people know they take up the human trafficking route to get entry into another country. The migration perspective will help us to understand human trafficking this way. Okay. Then moving into next perspective, that is, development perspective. So socio-economic development and human trafficking is closely connected. See, where the human trafficking happens, the socially, economically weaker countries, where, poverty, abundant poverty, and object poverty, and also, other infrastructural issues, political instability, lack of economic growth and development. So these are the factors which also, push for people to take up human trafficking. That's what employment is, lack of employment, low income, poor education. So these are the development perspective. By, development perspective helps us to understand the phenomenon of human trafficking. Then market or business perspective, which means it's also a big business today. The traffickers, they like make a lot of money. They make a lot of money by making this victims to involve in, arms smuggling, drug peddling across international borders. It's a big business. So a huge lot of money is being made by the traffickers. So the business perspective, the market forces also very important. They say human trafficking is a business organization. Traffickers make huge profits out of human trafficking based on supply and demand of the market. Okay. So, for instance, prostitution and sex trade, women are in the high demand in the domestic household and care providing sectors. So women are the main victims, women and children, basically, then men. Okay, so human trafficking, the main victims are women and children. Okay, women are in high need in other sectors like fast food industry, service industry, low wage manufacturing industry, where we can employ these trafficked women for less salary. It's a big business. So business perspective also will help us to understand the different dimension of the human trafficking. Then globalization perspective, okay, the LPG has increased free trade, minimal state intervention, and regulation. For example, immigration all has become very easy because of this globalization. We live in a globalized world today, so there is a shortage of unskilled laborers, skilled laborers in developed countries. For example, domestic work, agriculture, construction, manufacturing, where they don't have local laborers. So human trafficking is a good business to get cheap labor. Yeah, if you go to Malaysia, they get a lot of people from Indonesia to work in the plantations. Okay, so for a very for a cheap labor. So this human trafficking is a and also developed countries in the global north have restrictions for entry and exit to receive the unskilled and low skilled laborers from global south. So this is what to fill the labor shortage. This also adds to human trafficking. Okay, so then criminal justice perspective also will help us to understand the phenomenon of global human trafficking. Human trafficking is closely associated with criminal activities. I told you, they make a lot of criminal offenses like prostitution, transporting or selling drugs, intelligence gathering, trafficking arms, begging, pickpocketing, money laundering, submission of false documents, vehicle theft. So the trafficked victims are used for this. They are used for to indulge in these criminal activities. The traffickers utilize trafficked victims to serve all forms of transnational crime by various ways and means. That's what. So this perspective will help us to understand the involvement of the trafficked people in the criminal activities. Okay, so that is what. Then who are the victims of human trafficking? Okay, so before I'm going to that, I want to just go across you and I want to find out, so whether you are following me or not. So Devtalu Chatterjee, please, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
And you tell me what are your takeaways from this class so far? Like
Yes.
so far, I've
Yes.
just covered the theoretical
Yes, sir.
perspective. What are your takeaways? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, trafficking is basically different from human smuggling because trafficking
Yeah.
is forced or enforced. There is no point of consent who
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
trafficked. Number one. Number two, sir, is my point of view that the trafficking is somewhat forced migration. Forced
Yes.
migration, whether it's internal or external, and a type of enslavement with a bondage type of condition with no human rights being granted to the
Yeah.
trafficked person.
Yes.
And
Yes.
one of the most important condition is that political economic condition is one of the most primary factor for human trafficking. The more poorer the country, the whole source country, the more possibility is there for trafficking to the developed countries. Now, and next, and there is a classic example is from Murshidabad district of West Bengal. Huge number of children below the age of 8, they are being trafficked to the Southwest Asia. This is not included, sir, in your book, study material. Southwest Asia, just not for begging, but for camel racing. And apart from this, youth, just for camel racing and fun and just for entertainment business, the huge number of children are being trafficked. They are being abducted and trafficked to the Southwest Asia for camel racing and other type of begging during the Hajj pilgrimage. This is a persistent problem, and I think migration. There is a type of consent. There is a type of self will. While there is in traffic, there is not a point of consent or whatever consent that is being duplicity or by deceit. This is my
Yeah,
point of view.
that's right. And I want to ask, Aisa Shekani, can you just unmute and speak to me? Aisha?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what are the push and pull factors for human trafficking, as discussed, in the class? Can you just give me your point of view on push and pull factors?
Sorry, what factors?
Push and pull factors. I think I'm clear to
Push
you.
and pull. Push
See,
and pull
what,
factors. Yeah.
yeah, what are the costs? What are the costs for human trafficking? Yeah. What are the costs
Um,
for human trafficking?
Costs. There is business perspective.
Uh, no, I think, Aisha, can you introduce yourself? You're from where and what you're doing? Mm. Am I
Sorry.
audible to you? Am I audible to you? Can you
Yes.
hear me? I'm asking you, just can you introduce yourself? Because I think you are attending the class first time. So I want to know about you. So can you introduce yourself?
Yes. I am attending for the first time.
Yeah.
Uh, my name is Aisha. Uh,
Uh,
I am a lawyer by profession,
okay.
and I am currently residing in Dubai.
Okay. Good. You're
And
from Mumbai. Okay. Okay.
what?
Okay.
What?
Nice to know that you are living in Mumbai. Okay.
No, I live in
So,
Dubai.
acha, you live in Dubai. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fine. Okay. That's fine.
And
So you are
but
in,
I am from Mumbai actually.
okay. You're from Mumbai. Okay. Great. And Dubai is known for human trafficking. Dubai also receives lots of trafficked
Yeah.
victims. Okay. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Thank
So,
you, Aisha, for your introduction. Now I'll go to Rohit. Rohit,
Hi, sir. Yeah, yeah.
you tell me
Mhm.
something about, we discussed various theoretical perspectives. So
Yeah,
you can just, yeah, tell me what are the
mhm.
theoretical perspectives which are helping us to understand the phenomenon of human trafficking.
Yeah. Actually, human trafficking, sir, is the new slave trade, in fact. Uh, in fact,
Okay,
those people who are trafficked live under conditions equal to those experienced by slaves in former times. So it's the
okay,
illicit and clandestine movement of persons across national and international borders. Moreover, it is a global phenomenon, and
yeah,
is the very forms of trafficking, like forced labor, you can say, uh, involuntarily and under menace of any penalty.
mm,
The persons are coerced to work
okay,
to the use of, you can say, intimidation, or
yeah,
can say sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, commercial exploitation
yeah,
of children, forced child labor, you can say, bonded
yeah,
labor. Uh, Sometimes these people are under death, and their coercion is there, and both sex trafficking, and they
yes,
are unlawfully exploited initially. So all
mm,
this thing, domestic servitude also, like what you said, like in most of the Middle East, So these
okay,
people are trafficked, and under circumstances they are worked, told to work, abused, underpaid also.
okay,
Sometimes in
thank
some
you.
countries like that, yeah, and child soldiering are also there. So what I get
Yes,
from this,
that's what,
this
yeah,
is
you're
my
right.
point.
Yeah, you got it. So what about
Yeah.
Kartikeya? Can you speak to me, Kartikeya? Yeah,
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Kartik, you tell me, I discussed few theoretical perspectives. What are they?
Yes, sir. So, you discussed a number of, like, firstly, I think you defined the how you basically told us how human trafficking is defined, by the relevant agency of the United Nations, which is the recruitment, transport, and transfer, harboring, receiving,
Yeah.
coercion, abduction, abuse of power, or
Yes.
involuntary
Good.
movement of people across borders or within the same borders.
Yeah.
And you also told us that similar to how we view migration, there are also push and pull factors in human trafficking. Like for
Yes.
example, and mostly human trafficking is done from developing countries to developed countries, and
Yeah.
developed countries usually use human trafficking for cheap labor, prostitution, or
Yeah.
sex trade, organ trade, and it is also interlinked with other illicit activities such as drug trade, and
Yeah.
in
Good.
most cases they are transnational in nature.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right.
yes, sir. So that's what I
Great.
have
Great.
understood so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Now we'll further we'll discuss. So next, human rights perspective. Even human trafficking is also violation of human rights. The victims are taken for task. They face discrimination, deprivation, exploitation. Their right to safe life, right to life is also violated, and also right of, I mean, what to say, right to equality, and also the freedom of I mean, this right of what, equality, liberty, all these basic human rights are violated. Right to life itself, very danger for them. The right to freedom, they don't have it. You know, they are like slaves with the traffickers. They are always under the watch of this, traffickers. So no freedom of expression, there's no freedom of, movement, So basically their human rights are, violated like anything. So trafficking of women leads to violation of various fundamental rights of women, So children, women are the most of the victims of human trafficking, So that's what they are in high demand because of commercial sexual exploitation and domestic work around the globe. That's why, so these are the main, ideas which you have to understand human rights violation. Okay. The victims of human trafficking, I told you, the women and children, because they are easy to traffic them, and they also in high demand. They are in high demand. So for labor and sexual exploitation, and women are more for to trafficking due to various factors such as unemployment, family crisis, and poverty, and economic liability for the family. Women are being seen as a liability. There's a pressure for women to migrate to meet their family needs. So they are prone for human trafficking. So see, that's what war or armed conflict, natural disaster, the weak legal framework, gender discrimination, inadequate education. So these are the factors, people who are uh, trapped for human trafficking. Okay. So coming to global human trafficking case studies, where it happens all over the world, but there are main areas. For example, Africa. Africa trafficking happens in all the regions comprising Western Africa, Eastern Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, and North Africa. Whole Africa, you can say, is a source place for human trafficking, given their poor economic development status, you know. So Northern Africa is an origin and transit area for sub-Saharan Africa on their way to Western Europe, So internal trafficking also very common in Africa, from rural to urban, you know. Apart from internal trafficking, external trafficking also happens in a very major way. Okay, so that's what you can see. The whole Africa is known for trafficking because of their economic status, all that. The trafficked children for the labor exploitation is predominant in the Western and Central African region. The pattern of trafficking is largely intra-regional. Children are trafficked to Europe and the Middle East. The male children are mainly trafficked for labor on coffee and cocoa plantations into mines, also the fishing industry. In the case of Eastern Africa, internal trafficking from rural to urban area and also they affect children and women who are forced into commercial sex work and domestic service. Okay, so adult men are trafficked into criminal activities for manual and agricultural labor and construction work. The trafficked victims are usually sent to the African countries, Europe, and Middle East mainly for sexual exploitation and domestic work. So the whole African region is very well known for human trafficking because of their poor economic development. They also prone for human traffickers to what you call to put their trap in the region. And coming to Asia and Pacific region, for example, Asia and Pacific means it includes South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, Central Asia. In South Central Asia, India, Pakistan, these two countries, then you have Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Okay, so these are the very uh, prone for human trafficking. India, Pakistan also serves as transit countries for trafficking to the Middle East for the commercial sex trade and labor market. Okay, for example, according to some report, 60,000, 1,60,000 to 2,00,000 Nepalese girls are forced to work in India's brothel market, which also receives young girls from Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Okay, so trafficking is also very well known, activity in this region, Asia Pacific region. Okay, in Southeast Asia, for example, China, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam is most affected by human trafficking with extensive scale, because of tourism. These countries like Thailand, they employ child, what's called sex tourism, so it's known for that. So the children are used for that. Girls are also recruited as domestic servants and brides, while other children are trafficked into agriculture and industrial sectors. Women are trafficked predominantly for sex work in the entertainment industry in Japan. Okay, the peoples of Republic of China, they have internal trafficking of men, women, and children for labor and sexual exploitation. So this is what happening in the Asia Pacific region. Moving into next Europe, Europe, you have trafficking starts from East Europe to West Europe. Okay, that is the corridor. Okay, they get mostly from African countries. Okay, so you get victims from African countries. So these are the main 6 points, in European Union. Six major main routes used for trafficking and smuggling of migrants into Europe, from Russia through the Baltic states to the Czech Republic and Poland, from Ukraine to Poland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, and Slovenia. Third route is from Turkey to the Balkans, Balkans onto either Greece or Italy. Okay, so the fourth is from Turkey to northern Cyprus and onto European Union, like via Romania, Bulgaria. These are the routes, from Libya to Greece or Italy, from Somalia via Suez Canal to Greece or Italy. The sixth route is from West Africa to Spain. These are the six major routes by which the victims are trafficked into European Union. Okay, then other forms of human trafficking, apart from this, these are the forms. We have other forms also: child trafficking in armed conflicts, followed by organ trafficking, trafficking for forced marriages, and illegal adoptions. Human trafficking not only for labor and sexual exploitation, it also happens for organs, organ trade, and also forced marriages. Okay, and also illegal adoption, scalia. Organ trafficking means when the organ is obtained and through fraud, deceit, threat, or force. It's a crime involving the buyer, seller, broker, or agent, or the collaboration of medical professionals. So organ trade. India remains a popular destination for purchase and transplant buyers comprising India's middle class. Okay. So India is very much a source center for organ trade. You know, in the case of mail order brides, it is very common in China because China there's a gender imbalance. So many women are trafficked from Vietnam to China. Okay, it's called mail order brides. Okay, and the mail order bride industry is very business in which the main concern is the satisfaction of male clients, and the brides or women are treated no more than it's more than a commodity. Okay, then at least 70 countries ratified the Human Trafficking Protocol, resulting in the amendment of their criminal codes. So now there is a awareness, and also the government of various governments in various countries, they have come up with legal measures to stop this global concern, the global problem. So UNO also has come up with UN trafficking protocol, you know, and also many countries have ratified it. It's a transnational crime. You need the involvement of various countries to stop this problem. Not one government can do this. So there should be a global efforts to stop this problem. So UN has taken a lead. Even the king of Saudi Arabia has donated lots of money for working for improving, you know, the human trafficking, for stopping the human trafficking situation around the world. He has donated lots of money to the UN to step in to stop the human trafficking menace, global menace. Okay, so to conclude, both internal and international human trafficking is on the rise. Human trafficking is now a global concern because of its magnitude and intensity. Men, women, children are vulnerable in less developed countries and also easily become victims of human trafficking. Women are easy target because of their weak position, growing labor market demand, and for the commercial sex trade. Okay, so human trafficking is not only for labor and also sexual exploitation, but also for organ trade, forced marriage, and child soldiers in a conflict areas. That's why human trafficking is increasing. And also, you should understand, for example, in India, we have also a bill which was discussed in the parliament in 2018 regarding human trafficking. But still, the bill has not become an act. But there was a debate on this human trafficking in the year 2018. They brought the bill that's called Human Trafficking Protection and Rehabilitation Bill, but somehow it could not materialize as a law due to various reasons. But we have legal provisions, like, for example, IPC 370A, which speaks about human trafficking, and also we have, the POCSO Act, which is talks about prevention of child sexual abuse, all that. POCSO, that is called Juvenile Justice Act. Okay, Bonded Labor Abolition Act 1976. These are the various laws which are, which can be utilized to stop human trafficking. Okay, Article 23 in the Indian Constitution talks about prevention of human trafficking, all that. So there are, move from the various governments. We have international agreements, and also at the national level, we have various, initiatives. Even the Home Ministry has set up, anti-trafficking cell. Even they opened a website, portal, a web page to complain about the human trafficking in the Ministry of Home Affairs website, as of 2014. And also, the present government, they started Ujwala, a scheme to stop human trafficking of women trafficking. So their rehabilitation, their prevention, and all that. So this Ujwala scheme has really prevented, the internal women human trafficking. Okay, so there are steps in this direction, but we have to go a long way to stop this problem because now there is a growing demand for cheap labor and also, the organized crimes, crime gangs are very active because they could make huge profit out of this. So these are the reasons which are really threatening, and also it's keeping this problem alive. Human trafficking is still alive because of there's a huge profit, there's a network of the criminals who are, facilitating these activities to be alive. So this is what I want to discuss with you about human trafficking. So in this class, we discussed what is human trafficking, different theoretical perspectives of human trafficking, and also the victims of the human trafficking. And we also discussed about various case studies. Okay, so it's a global problem. It happens mostly from developing country to developed country. So it's a global problem. There are legal initiatives by various bodies, uh, not only government bodies, NGOs also very active to stop this human trafficking. But still, we have to go long way to stop this problem. Okay, that is what I want to discuss today. So let me just ask you questions. Okay, and the floor is open for question and answer. Now, anybody has any queries? Let's talk to Swadesh. Swadesh, can you just unmute and tell me, you know, what is your understanding on human trafficking? Sudesh, or if he is not there, then we'll go to Vijaya. Vijaya, just can you tell me something about human trafficking in Middle East? Because you're from Kuwait, so you can tell us human trafficking, what are the initiatives? Vijaya, okay, I think so. Let's go to again. Dominicos, yes,
Sir,
Dominicos,
hello, sir.
yes,
So we can't say directly it is a human trafficking,
okay.
but the consequences are same sometimes.
Mhm.
The agencies, recruiting agencies, they're encouraging visit come employment to their
Mm,
UAE especially, and
mm,
Malaysia, they went as a farm worker, and they
mm.
can use them into work in hotels and restaurants. This is
Yes,
happening. Yeah, sir, it's a labor violation. Lot of they will suffer lots of in the destination country.
yes, yes.
Yeah, women from Hyderabad. They saying
Okay.
earlier you are work as a parlor something salon at their nationalist homes, but they're
Mm,
giving other works to them. It's also a
okay.
labor violation. Illegally
Mm,
they're migrating there, and legally they're migrating, but the assigned work is not giving there in destination countries. It is a huge
okay.
problem in our Telangana region. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sudesh. And Vijaya, can you just share your thoughts on human trafficking?
Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon,
Yeah.
sir. Regarding this subject, actually, I don't think that trafficking thing is existed. Maybe if it is existed here, maybe it is hidden or something. But one thing is that, like those who have visa violators, they still get jobs somewhere to work. So that cannot be considered as human trafficking, I believe.
Okay. Acha.
Yeah.
Then, uh, so that, because I was teaching, what are the initiatives? Whether can we stop this problem? Human trafficking can be stopped. Hmm. I think she lost her
Yes, we
connection.
can stop. We cannot stop completely, but
Mm,
yes, as you said, that governments can take initiative to prevent such actions from illegal sources. But what I feel is this cannot be completely stopped. We can't do that. But
Yeah,
if whoever is doing these kind of things, if at all they keep in mind that these are um, like human right violations. So if
yeah,
government, along with the government, if they make agreement, like in kafala system we have in Middle East. So the
yeah,
same thing, if they go through with some of the channels that is government initiatives, then these kind of things we can like some extent well, like prevent, but not totally. It is not possible because
okay.
there are some states in India. I just read
See,
some
that's
of the
what, no,
papers. They
see,
are
it's
sending their
it is
kids, girls,
there are lots of
daughters.
stakeholders involved in this process. So it's not easy, to stop this activity, but only thing we can reduce it if we all come together. If we all come together, if we all means the all stakeholders, the various countries, NGOs, UN bodies, so they all should step in. Maybe they can reduce the level of human trafficking, which has increased today. So, for example, African countries are the victims of human trafficking. They lose their human capital, and also it leads to a lot of security implications. So that's what you have to, I think the African Union, like these kind of uni bodies, should step in along with other various global bodies, to prevent this human trafficking. The magnitude of human trafficking should be brought under control. That's something we have to all understand, okay? There should be a lot of, policy initiatives and also debates, discourse on human trafficking. There should be a awareness campaign, workshops to be organized on this. So let me go to Rohit. What is your take, final take? What is the final take, Rohit?
Yeah, I
So
think
can
this.
I say something?
Yeah. Okay. May I continue, or the lady is going to talk?
Yeah, you
No,
can
no,
continue.
no, you
Yes.
Okay. This is.
continue.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a global phenomena. So I think we need to adopt some strategies. Like, it is not a job of the government and NGOs,
Mm,
but rather voluntary, like education and awareness programs, campaigns can be increased. Community outreach and engagement programs can say social
yeah,
services for
that is
the like vulnerable populations, economic empowerment programs, like all these things. So hotlines and helplines, this can curb, but this is cannot wipe immediately from the whole global. It will take time. So
bilkul.
victim support and services like counseling, like it starts from the local level, and
That's right.
medical
Good
and mental health
ideas.
services,
I
rehabilitation
welcome.
programs.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
welcome your ideas, Rohit. Outreach activities.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a nice
Yeah.
point you made. Outreach activities will definitely will have an impact. You are right.
Yeah.
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 Now let me just ask Aisha. Aisha, can you just what is your point of view on this topic? Aisha,
Yes.
Aisha. Yeah.
Yes. In the sense, I think that there need to be. I think that, like for example, you mentioned UAE.
Yeah.
So with respect to UAE, like I know there were previously lots of accusations of human rights violations and things like that.
Yeah,
And
because
to an
you are a
extent,
Aisha, you are a lawyer, so you should also, look into this issue because it's closely connected to your law, because lawyers can
yeah.
really help. Yeah. Mm.
So that's what I was coming to. Basically, previously, I think that this used to be the case, and I mean, I'm sure even now, but previously, the even the government had a very, very laxed approach. They
Okay.
didn't really, because it benefited them also to a great extent, because they got so much labor at, obviously such an exploitative kind of rate and environment. But after, I think, global contamination and increasing awareness about this, now they have really changed their laws, and they have made it much stricter for employers to be exploitative, although of course it still happens.
Yeah.
But they have huge fines if they discover things like this.
Okay.
Like I think previously, like employers would confiscate the power of their employees and force them to work, and it was like basically trafficking,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha,
they did
for your
not have a
interaction.
choice.
Yeah, thank you for your point of
Mm.
view, Aisha, for your interaction also. Now let me go to Dominicos. Dominicos, tell me, because you're from Africa, Africa is a very source country for human trafficking. So you can tell us, your point of view. The final take briefly, because we have to wrap up the session. So brief reply response. Yes.
Yes, sir. First, I want to make a question.
Yeah.
Yes, if we have a, OIM, International Organization of Migration, and the government also knows about these phenomena of trafficking of people, and
Mm.
even the routes, and some people are doing studies about these phenomena. Why we don't have one law, international law, to regulate these phenomena and for punishment of these people?
That's
Uh,
what no, see, that's what no, it's a global issue, and also the law enforcement, is very tough. So you need the cooperation of various, bodies. That's where no the problem. There is a implementation problem. For example, one trafficking group is operating from Bangladesh. How India can take action? How India can take action? Okay, so this is it's a lot of diplomatic issues and all there, bilateral. But that's why now they are trying to find a common commonality. Like they want to have a global body which can look after this kind of issues, and the legal enforcement, the action for the action against the traffickers, and also rehabilitation of the victims. No, there are a lot of initiatives which are taking place at the global level as also the national level, but we have to go a long way. Even for example, African Union, is such a big body which really, should take care of this issue very seriously and sincerely, because Africa is a very source country for human trafficking into Europe and Middle East. People are exploited, they are facing a lot of violation of rights, all that. So thank you, Domenico, for your point of view. I hope we have a very good discussion. I mean, you have learned a little bit about this human trafficking. You can read further on this topic. Now, finally, I go to Kartikeya. Can you just wind up? Just can you give me brief reply for on this topic?
Yes, sir. So, I would, if I may, disagree a little by saying that I feel that the states are very much within their power to take care of this problem. But the
Okay.
thing is that this problem of human trafficking hasn't just existed now. It has existed since time immemorial, before
Yes. Yes.
even the existence of Westphalian states, one may say so. So I think the states already have enough power legally and through other means to take care of this problem. But the truth of the matter is that there are ground realities that the states choose to ignore and let these problems continue. Like, for example, mail to order brides in China.
Oh,
There is a skewed sex ratio, and there is a demand. So that is why somewhere the state is also being complicit in allowing such illegal organizations to run, and for them it is the only way to address this problem
yes. Yes.
immediately. So
I
I would say the states somewhere lack the will to take care of it, but they haven't been
Yeah.
able to. And obviously, since it's such a big
Uh,
issue and so complicated, that it will
Yes, yes,
obviously take
Kartikeya,
some time.
Kartik,
Yeah,
your point is well taken. Your point is well taken. You're right. There is a lack of political will also. I agree with you. Okay. There's a lack of political will. That's why this problem is still persisting. But there are, initiatives which are really happening. But let us wait and watch, the impact of
yeah,
these initiatives on human trafficking issue. But I agree with you because of in the case of China, the state is complicit in terms of this human trafficking because the gender imbalance issue in China today. Yes, thank
yeah.
you, and yeah, thank you all of you for your nice participation, and I'll see you
Even sir,
next week.
during the World Cup, we heard reports of stadiums being made using and laborers over there living in terrible conditions. But
Yes, yes, you're right.
somewhere all the authorities, everyone who was involved, they took a blind eye to it. Nobody took
That
any action.
that's
Even the
right. You're
developed
right.
countries who are champions of human rights, like USA and European Union, the Netherlands teams refused to bring their families over because of what happened to those workers. But nobody else took a stand because so much money is involved in these things.
That's
So
right. I
yeah,
agree with you. You are right. I think Karthik has a lot of ideas about this. I mean, you have a lot of knowledge
thank you,
about
sir.
this. Thank you. I think you're, and I appreciate your,
Sir,
update on this topic. Yes.
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
Mm.
Thank you.
sir, hello.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Who's this? Yeah.
I'm Deptur Chatterjee. So
Yes.
taking a
Yes.
cue from yes, taking a cue from Mr. Kartika, I just want to add that Maria Mice, in one of her seminal topics, patriarchy and accumulation on a world scale, she has stated that this is all part of a global capitalist hegemonic economy, and these are all the iceberg where the females are being forced. They are new definitions that women's work in household. Thus, they are giving a legal term or legal facet to this. This all type of sexual exploitation, commercial sex, and etc. And these are all part of new patriarchal global economic order.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
I taking to quote from
Deb,
Maria Weiss. Yes, sir.
Deptaru is sounding very theoretical. Yes, good. I agree with you. A very good insight from you. And we all stand with you. Yes, you're right. So I'm very happy. This topic has generated a good debate among all of us. So let us continue this next class as well. Okay. So see you next week on Sunday. Okay. Next
Thank
Sunday.
you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for your insights.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for your wonderful participation. Thank you all. Hmm. Ferosh,
Yes, sir.
you can close it now. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.